Representing Storm Gaming, he is Gumiho. And his opponent with a very early probe out on the map. Give it up for Dragon Phoenix Gaming's ZEST. So before anything even starts to happen, we've got this probe being an absolute nuisance out on the field, and this is actually really bad for Gumiho, as Gumiho has decided to go for a proxy Rax on the other side of the map. So unfortunately, this probe is going to have quite a fun time being an absolute nuisance to this Terran player. Obviously, ZEST has been around the block quite a few times, so he should be properly prepared for this. He can also see that this is going to be a very quick factory follow-up, just based off the fact that there is a double gas. And from there, he should just be ready to go. Drop into Cybernetics Core will mean that he has a nice defense setup. Now, I'm just curious as to how hard Gumiho is going to commit to this, as we already see the SCV is going to leave and the factory is just going to be built back at home. So not the biggest of commitments, but that still is a long time before you're going to be able to make out of this, because once that Reaper is out, there's really not too much you're going to be able to build from this base. Now he does find a nice little timing here where he can try and get in. ZEST, a very good pull, gonna keep these workers alive for as long as possible, but Gumiho is on the hunt. It is ring around the rosy where your victory is death. And as the Reaper goes down, his buddy probably just gonna hang out, go back home hopefully, because I don't think he really wants to have too much fun. We did see a bunker get canceled. And yeah, very nice hold from ZEST. Very good start. Now from here we do see Gumiho kind of setting up for what looks to be a Whittle Mine follow-up. So we'll have to see how many mines he's gonna have for the drop. I think that's a pretty good way to get back into it. All things considered, just because you get one good mine shot and you're resetting the worker count here. Currently there's only a 5 to 6 worker lead, but we do have ZEST getting ready for an absolute banger of a push, as he will have that Twilight Council pumping out Blink, and we should see probably one additional gateway coming out soon. Actually, never mind. It's going to be the Robo facility. So, yeah, he's going to go pretty hard with these Stalkers. So, Gumiho really needs to recognize this. He needs to start getting out some sort of splash damage. Whittle Mine's just not going to be enough to hold on versus this. Even now, we do see those Whittle Mines coming across, but the Stalkers are in position. He's just going to go for it, but ZEST knows that this is here. He does manage to get them both out. That could have been a little bit dicey, but only one probe going down. Definitely not the best it could have been for Gumiho there, but now Gumiho has a full scout of the situation, sees absolutely everything, and from here he is pretty much in panic mode, as we do have that siege tank coming out. The Marines need to be pumped. He needs a bunker as well just to survive this push. Also, thank you Dojo DE and Papa Mitch for the subscriptions. You guys are saving esports. Looks like the medevac did get out of there, which is a small victory, because that's going to be a little bit of healing available to these Marines on the other side. Stim has started, so if ZEST is going to go for a push, his window is going to start closing here, as Stim is kind of the timing where Blink Stalkers become less effective out on the map. Now keep in mind, this is nowhere near all in for ZEST, because you can kind of see he's not pumping out any additional Stalkers. It's just getting Immortals in the background and getting ready for that transition into Colossi. He's got his third base up. So this is mostly just a little bit of pressure, looking to kind of get some good pickoffs and then get out of there with these units. Now Gumiho is getting set. Looks like the Stalker is going to take a little bit of damage here. Gumiho going to try and get a cheeky pick off here, but he will get the Observer, which is really, really nice. Stalker's taking a big hit right there, so they're going to start to lose a lot of that health as Gumiho is trying to get ready for this push. Now ZEST might think that there's not going to be too much at home to defend, but there is a siege tank on the high ground, so he's going to take some big shots to the face there. And he is getting, and Gumiho is getting relatively close between the natural and the third base here. He has to be careful as to where he decides to engage, as he's about to get surrounded. Oh no, the Colossus finishes on up. It does get shut down, so he does take a little bit more damage than he's necessarily hoping. Gumiho with the wraparound as well. It's just Stalkers left. But at the end of the day, that is going to be enough to finish off this push. And now ZEST up about 10 supply in that army count. Is going to go for a push, but there is still some siege tanks in the back. Gumiho has not stopped producing those. And honestly, there's no real reason to stop producing them right now, as there's no Zealots, there's no charge. It's just pure Stalker, which is getting shredded by those tanks. So you know what? This isn't the worst situation in the world for Gumiho. He is down in terms of those upgrades, only just now getting his +1. He's just now getting his command center, but he does still have the army supply advantage, including a ton of Marauders. Oh, this is unfortunate for Gumiho. However, he's going to lose this base. No cancel. That is 400 minerals down the drain. Looks like he really does want to attack here. It looks like he wants to set up, but unfortunately, a little bit indecisive here. Breaking down these rocks took up quite a bit of his time, which did allow ZEST to kind of come home with his army. I'm not sure if it was a recall or not. But now Gumiho, he's lost a supply advantage. There's additional gateways coming in, +2 attack halfway done. So I'm not really sure what this attack is going to be able to get done. And you know what? He doesn't know either, as we have March of the SCVs coming on in. Stalkers are going to try and take a couple of pot shots here, but let's go. Once these siege tanks siege up, that is go time for Gumiho. The biggest thing for Gumiho right now is that ZEST is a little bit supply block, can't actually get that disruptor out, so that is going to be a pretty nice kill on that disruptor. The SCV starting to get on top of the mineral line, and the Stalkers at the top of the ramp are going to start to go down, so most of ZEST's army is kind of chained out here. But now with so much of Gumiho's supply away from the main base, and the main base, Gumiho just ZEST is going to just dive on top of this, and that is going to be it. We still have these Marauders going to do what they can, but as they start to fall, yeah, this is going to be a really tough time here for Gumiho. Still on 2 bases. There's just a little bit too much Protoss. Scan's gonna go down looking for what he can, but that is it. GG is called. In the top right position of the map, give it up for Gumiho. And his opponent down here in the bottom, he is ZEST. And once again, ZEST is just making sure that his opponent is not doing anything too crazy here. Unfortunately, it is indeed the case once again. He's going to be building in the acceleration zone. I'm not 100% certain, but I think that speeds it up just a little bit, just a hair, to get that Reaper out a little bit quicker. But now the probe is just going to be looking around this time just to kind of confirm where this is. Right now, so far, not having the most luck in finding it because of how bold the location is. But ZEST should kind of just realize, hey, I don't really care where it is because I know it's not going to be anything too greedy, too expensive. And yeah, he just sees it's going to be the factory follow-up. And so he's feeling perfectly all right, dropping the cybernetics core for that safety to get that stalker out nice and early. Honestly, from here, we should be seeing him transition into the Twilight Council. But there you go. Gumiho going to make this a lot more painful if he can. Coming on in here, the pull is good, so ZEST will not lose a probe just yet. They are getting relatively low, but Gumiho not able to hunt them down, and as that stalker comes on in, he's gonna lose the Reaper. But the follow-up is the big question here, because we do have concussive shells and Hellions on the way, so will ZEST recognize this? He hasn't seen this at all. He hasn't even seen the first production building, but he still has the probe here, so he does know something is up. I think Gumiho is just kind of allergic to his own base. You know, this is his teenage rebellion phase where everything has to be outside of the base. He does not follow the rules of StarCraft 2. And honestly, we love him for it. The Tower Terran gonna come in here and he's gonna find a relatively undefended base. You know, we have that one adept. The stalker is way out of position. He might even have to recall that. But the probes are already pulled. You have to stop that bunker from going up, and he does indeed do so. The Hellions getting massive shots off on this probe line. The Marauder reinforcement gonna get rid of the stalker, and this is just getting worse and worse for ZEST. The shield battery finally gonna come in, and that will be able to keep this stalker alive for a little bit of time. But the Marauder reinforcement, the Hellions in the back, the Viking as well, gonna help out quite a bit. A little bit of healing energy as well, just to complement the push. Oh my God, 6 workers going down. I gotta say, like, even though I think this is about to start petering out, this was a really good attack from Gumiho. The problem is, he doesn't really have a follow-up to it. Like, taking a look at the battle report here, he did get 12 probes, so that's going to help him out in terms of that economic lead. But back at home, he still doesn't have his second and third racks out. And this is the basis of his army: 3 Marauders and a Viking. So it looks like he's just going to try and produce as much as humanly possible in order to keep himself safe. Looks like ZEST doesn't want to attack either, just staying at home with these units. Which is probably a good call because it doesn't look like Gumiho wants to let up at all. He is pretty much all in with this almost, as he still is only on one base. That's a lot of Marauders. That's a lot of medevac energy as well. Gumiho gonna get behind this army. We'll be able to get rid of the Guardian Shield in the back. The medevac's starting to go down, so they will not be a big help towards this army, but it doesn't even matter as ZEST loses every single stalker back at home. So now, the shield battery is the one thing keeping these guys alive. He has to hold on to that position, but the clock is ticking for Gumiho as these immortals start to pop. It just becomes so dicey to engage into this. Looks like the firepower a little bit too much here, as that shield battery will go down. The probes once again pulled. ZEST is in a hustle to defend, and he will tap out. Now Gumiho trying to tell the story that he was doing the exact same thing, but unfortunately ZEST has just been way too quick on the scout. The SCV gonna get chased around by this probe. So that is a little bit of a ring around the rosy of death, as Gumiho gets fully scouted out. So ZEST not gonna overreact this time. I don't think he's gonna drop down his his cybernetics core first. I think he is going to drop his cybernetics core first. But yeah, from here we should see a more standard approach to this game from Gumiho. I think he's kind of cheesed his way out as this probe. He's looking for the kill. This is a juicy red SCV for him. But now seeing that that natural CC is planted, that should be enough for that probe to go home and say, hey, I am fine with how this is going. Never mind. He's gonna tickle his friend. So now from ZEST, we do have the 3 Adept into Oracle style. This is quite a powerful push from ZEST, as there's not really going to be a ton of units to deal with the Oracle. As you can kind of see, Gumiho, he's getting 1 Marine at a time. He's getting his starport up, but he lost the Reaper on the other side of the map, so he is going to be in the dark as to what the follow-up is. Hellions are okay, but versus 3 Adepts, it's not really the best for him. I'm kind of interested as to why he's still trying to pump out Hellions here, because at this point you should be starting to kind of go for the anti-Oracle stuff. You need a Cyclone, you need a Viking, you just need anything to kind of divert this. Since you don't really have any SCVs at the natural, you shouldn't really be focusing any of your defense down there. In fact, I think it would be best to kind of just sacrifice that location for a minute in order to defend at the top of the ramp. But Gumiho is going to lose quite a bit here, as even the Viking has to land in order to defend. It's like ZEST not even utilizing the Oracle effectively right now. If he had sent that in earlier, he would have been able to get quite a bit of damage done. But now there's a Cyclone out. The Viking's going to be able to shoo this away. And it's not going to be as powerful as it was. Follow up for Gumiho. We got the Banshee and the I think I heard a drop lift up. Never mind, that was the bunker, but this Banshee gonna head towards the third base. There are no shield batteries in play right now. There is no cloak. You know what? I think Gumiho's going mech in this game. He started the armory. He's getting his third CC up. We should see him drop down those additional factories as well. That would be absolutely epic. Gumiho is one of the only players in the world to actually be able to make mech work versus Protoss. And this Banshee finding a really big opening here. Gumiho not paying attention will take some damage on it. At the end of the day, 4 probes have gone down, a 5th to follow, and he does keep the Banshee alive, albeit very weakened. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The extra factories have started up. So Gumi God is going to be going into Thor mech. Oh my goodness. So now ZEST, he has to react to this. He has to see that this is indeed the case. Right now, he's got no information from that main base other than where that Rax is being placed. So these adepts are going to have to try and make their way in to get a little bit of scouting. Once he sees the Thor, however, I think that's going to be the big tell as to what's going on. Banshee, now with Cloak, does make its way in, gets 7 additional kills. And so Gumiho is really just kind of piling on the damage little by little. Yeah, look at that. And does look like ZEST has sussed it out, however. So he will be able to clean this one up. Gumiho still building Banshees. But that's the first map. No, this is map number 3. Yeah, we do have +1 attack about to finish on up on Zest's side. He does have his robo facility relatively late. He sees the Thor, and that is that is the first big indication that, hey, this is mech. Oh my god. Can you tell me score, please? It's down here, 1-1. So now you see the instant reaction here. He's got the Templar archives. He's dropping that additional robo because Immortals are just absolutely insane versus mech units. Gumiho, of course, just gonna have to stay back for quite a bit of time in order to build up this army, so ZEST could even get an additional base. So we'll have to see when he does decide to do that. These Phoenix gonna be a big nuisance as well, as he can lift up the siege tanks as they siege up. But now it's kind of just the calm before the storm for these players. Gonna get a couple of SCVs, always nice, as well as just a nice little revelation as well to kind of get some information as to where this army is. I gotta say though, Gumiho with that attack upgrade lead, as well as starting his +1 defense, gonna be transitioning into Cyclones relatively soon as well. I think this is going to be a really difficult time for ZEST to kind of break through. Couple of missile turrets in the main base as well, just to shun any sort of warp prism shenanigans. As we do see the Hellion just gonna get confirmation that there is indeed a 4th base on the map. 3 more factories on the way, just so that when he does lose this army, and let's be real, he is gonna trade out this army, he can get another one right away. Templar loading up. So ZEST getting ready for the move out. These Hellions keep getting deflected as well. We do see ZEST with a very good positioning on that observer. That is found out. But now this is going to prompt ZEST to go for his big attack, as there's not really too much here to stop him. It's like 2 ships passing in the middle of the day. As ZEST not really sure if he wants to go in just yet, but he will be able to make the first strike. Gumiho, however, is following up with a big attack of his own at the 3rd base here. The siege tanks are sieged right on up. Storm's gonna blanket this army. A good concave for ZEST and a stasis trap. Oh my goodness, this is absolute carnage. But at the end of the day, it's looking to go ZEST's way. Although he does get away from the siege tanks, that might be a little bit of a problem. They do get a couple of shots. And from there, you can kind of tell the rest of the story from that. So now Gumiho has to reposition himself because he does not have any additional siege tanks. Looks like we do have a small Hellion run by here. Gonna clean out the 4th base. But in return, he does lose his own 4th. His 3rd base is lifted on up. Cyclones can be a good comeback mechanic, but not in this situation. Yeah, there's just so many immortals with this, so many stalkers available to him. The biggest factor for Gumiho is he will have that +3 attack, so his units are going to hit very hard. But as we can kind of see, ZEST gearing up for the late game, as he will be going for that fleet beacon into Stargate. He doesn't want to throw this away in any semblance, in any single way. Honestly, it's going to be really hard to do so, however, as, once again, Gumiho is not mining off that 3rd base. This is pretty much what he has. He has to make it work right here, right now. ZEST as well gonna find this army just kind of rotating around looking for it. The observers continuously getting picked up, but not before seeing the kind of move out from Gumiho. Gearing up for another big push. He's got to get in position with the siege tanks. So far, not sieging them up just yet. The Stalkers having to retreat to the high ground here as the Cyclone Fire is whittling. We do have a huge storm going to go down, blanketing the Hellbats, and they will all start to fall. But the siege tank line is actually holding firm right now. The Stalkers on the retreat. The Void Ray doing what it can, but that will go down. So this was a very Pyrrhic victory for ZEST. He lost quite a bit of his army, including all of those immortals. But at the end of the day, it was a victory nonetheless. As ZEST will go up to match point. Spawning Down here in the bottom right position of the map, as you can see, a couple of SCVs heading out for a little journey. Give it up for Psystorm Gaming's Gumiho. And his opponent in the top left of the map, he is for Dragon Phoenix Gaming, ZEST, the best. Back to his old tricks, I see, as we do have the Rex gonna be coming on in. ZEST not gonna scout far enough in order to see this. I shrimp for ZEST. Yes, that is pretty true. The world is a ZEST shrimp, and Gumiho is just looking a little bit allergic to shellfish in this game. Of course, the safety cybernetics core coming down. Unlike the last couple of games, ZEST hasn't actually sent a probe across the map, so he has no idea that this is coming. The SCV does reveal itself in a pretty weird location to scout from, so that's gonna ring some alarm bells for ZEST. You can see he kind of just instantly sends the probe across the map because he realizes, hey, something is up. But at the end of the day, this is just a pretty standard follow-up here with the factory at home in order to defend. Oh no, the wall's not done as well, so that probe is going to be a very quick victory here for Gumiho. And that's quite a bit of lost mining time, all things considered. You know, that's 5 probes that are not working. If he can get out of here with this Reaper, 3 kills is pretty much a magic number for him. Take a look at what that does for him here. It also allows the bunker to finish up. But unfortunately, the Reaper has already decided to go on home. So Gumiho not going to follow this up with anything too crazy, too aggressive. ZEST, however, has got the Twilight Council. If you guys see what I see here, we've got Widow Mines out on the field and a very fast armory coming on in. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be mech once again, but what it does say is that he is going to be dropping some Widow Mines, which are going to be a very big nuisance to deal with for ZEST, as they will not be revealed anytime soon. I think the best part of this as well is there is no robo facility. There are no oracles. So ZEST really has just no way of seeing this, except for maybe if there's a wayward probe dropping pylons everywhere. But you can see ZEST instantly dropping the robo facility here. Coming in from whatever angle he can get in. The pull is good, but he can't see them just yet. Only 2 probes going down. The medevac does escape as well, so that is already a big victory for Gumiho. Keeping that alive just makes the threat even more real. But now the follow-up, Gumiho still doesn't have stim. He still doesn't have any additional tech structures. He's getting up to his 3rd base. Oh, look at that. A little bit of repositioning here. I'm wondering how the other Widow Mine died. He must have unloaded it somewhere. But yeah, again, we don't have stim. we don't have additional factories, so I'm still not 100% certain where Gumiho is going to go with this. This definitely is setting up for a tank push, but without upgrades, without stim, I just don't think it's going to be super effective. So there you have it. It is indeed going to be mech once again. So we should be seeing kind of a slow build up here for Gumiho. Just wants to prepare himself just in case there is some semblance of a stalker push. But I think ZEST doesn't really care about doing so right now. Taking a couple of pot shots right there. Again, ZEST really doesn't have any idea that this is coming, but he already does have the robot facility down. He's got those additional gateways, and he's going to have quite a bit of tech in terms of that charge and +1 attack. But now, oh my goodness, he's got to be feeling really good about what is to come, as he knows he has all the time in the world to kind of expand, to build up. And he just wants to crush this once again. Just gearing up for a little bit of a double prong attack. There are plenty of siege tanks at the top. Remember, Romanticide, it's really difficult to break in to these locations, so you have to really be committed to where you want to go in. Gumiho very just content, as he does have the army supply advantage. He does have a relatively good worker count as well. Really focusing on that gas, as you should. Stalkers trying to make their way in. They do get the sensor tower, but at what cost, Kalaris? Cost of 1 stalker. Definitely not worth it. See, this time I do like how Gumiho isn't going for the Thor. The Thor just really not a good option in this game, but he does need some semblance of anti-air just so that he can deal with the observers in the sky and the warp prism on their reinforcements. Repositioning a little bit here, and this is the part where it gets super dicey, as he has to establish himself on his 4th base, which is much further away from the natural. Storm just about to complete as well. We do have the Stargate coming on in, so yeah. This is not just calm before the storm, this is calm before all hell breaks loose. As neither side really wanting to push, neither side wants to press anything. And honestly, again, there's just no real reason to throw away units needlessly. Although I would like to see Gumiho be a little bit more aggressive with his Hellions. Just kind of send a small run by here and there. Force additional defenses to be had. Force a pull away from those probes. But, you know, to each his own. He is the pro player. He knows what he's doing. I feel like this is no rush 2 hours right now, as yeah, I like this move. He's gonna have to start teching up towards that air army. Again, hasn't really seen it, but star senses are that, hey, if my opponent hasn't attacked for this long, he's going for carriers, he's going for Tempest, he's just going for anything that can kill this really big army, which is very vulnerable to the sky. Once again, loading up the Marines. Going for a bit of a little counterattack here. Scan gonna go down, finds the observer. So that will finally fall, but I mean, it's pretty much done its job and more. So many command centers. Oh my goodness here. So now ZEST trying to hide these carriers for as long as humanly possible. This drop kind of recognizes that it can't really get in there and do anything. So who wins in this situation? Obviously, the battlecruisers will be able to take out the carriers in the sky, and from there it's kind of just cleaning up the ground army, which is the biggest hassle. But I think from this point, Gumiho needs to start kind of getting rid of some of these siege tanks, some of these Hellions, clearing up some of that supply to kind of get himself into the sky. I'm kind of surprised he hasn't started trading out a little bit. At this point, you would see a lot of the SCVs kind of just be traded out. Again, a lot of these siege tanks, but oh no, ZEST, what are you doing? Oh no. Oh my goodness here. I don't even have words for that. ZEST just running head first into the meat grinder. Now, you could argue that, hey, that was probably to clear up some more supply, but at the end of the day, that was a lot of damage done to the ground army here, so these carriers are going to be even more vulnerable to a follow-up attack here. High Templar's gonna go, one will go down, not before 5 workers have been killed and the DT's revealed. Gumi needs Mass Raven. I don't think Mass Raven. I think a couple of Ravens would be good to kind of augment this force, to kind of make it a little bit more powerful. But definitely not Mass Raven. That can be really difficult to kind of fight this. Carriers, though, making their way in. Yamato's one will go down. Not enough to kill, but enough to stun, as the SCVs need to be pulled to repair. ZEST still has full map control right now, as Gumiho is just playing turtle, turtle, turtle. I feel like we're in a Dr. Seuss book, Yertle the Turtle. Don't try and say that with a speech impediment. But the Interceptors do catch a lot of this army that doesn't actually get a kill on any of these carriers. Okay, he gets 1 carrier for the cost of a battle cruiser, and he loses the base as well. We do have him setting up for a pretty big run by, but I think ZEST has already sussed this out. There we go. Now starting to kind of clear up some of this supply to make room for more battle cruisers. But at the end of the day, ZEST really hasn't taken too much damage from this. Tries to fight the army, gets absolutely annihilated there. I'm not gonna lie, I can't actually tell who's ahead. Like, a lot of this ground army has been softened up, has been weakened. But ZEST is still up a base. He's up in terms of that army supply. just barely here. The interceptors do start to get taken down, and that is pretty expensive to continuously replenish them. But 4 more battlecruisers on the way. A mass recall here from ZEST. A beautiful play right there, but he does go into a bunch of missile turrets, which do all go down. So now he's just gonna fight, straight up fight the interceptors. It looks like he does not want to get on top of the this army just yet. He wants to be very cautious here. One bad engagement will cost him the game. But another thing that will cost him that game is losing bases like that. Gotta say that if I knew that mothership core was out there like it is, I probably wouldn't have that so exposed. But that is setting up ZEST for a big counterplay here once he tries to deflect this push. That's a lot of siege tanks, and he does have the SCVs for the repair, so ZEST just gonna sacrifice this location. He already has bases in the 12 o'clock, and down here that nexus is very misplaced. I have no idea what's going on in this game. I'll be completely honest here, because at this point, oh my god, he used the Nexus to recall. And now he has the mothership core, so as soon as he starts to face resistance right here, he can recall straight into Gumiho's main base. I see that mothership core ready to go. He's gonna have to bring all the battlecruisers home. And how many Yamato cannons does he have? That is the big question here. He doesn't finish off these carriers in time, taking quite a bit of damage on these battlecruisers. Oh my god, he doesn't get the engagement that he needs, but he's still looking to be able to clean this up. Pardon me there, sorry about that. He does get the mothership core, so that is an end to that. ZEST, his supply is plummeting, but he has done quite a bit of damage in the main base. Taking a look at that, it actually went quite heavily into Gumiho's favor, killing off all of that. But now the DT is getting right on top. Another base is sniped. Oh my goodness. Oh, look at that. He even got the fusion core. So no more battlecruisers are in the cards. He's gonna switch back into the ground army. But he needs to get another base really soon here. ZEST, in terms of mining, up 1,200 minerals at a time. That army size still in Gumiho's favor, but he's not really making anything of that. Mothership core, mothership. You know, my mind is stuck in 2015. Really, I think the biggest problem for Gumiho is that he's not mining off these gas geysers as efficiently as he should. And 2, he's not really cleaning up any of these bases that are going down for a ZEST. Tempests will be able to shoo this away for the time being here. They will go back to safety. But again, just ZEST is all over the place. He is absolutely everywhere, consistently crushing through these planetaries as they go up. The Tempests as well going to pick off a base of their own. So that's 2 bases going down. The DTs just absolutely going ham here. Archons on the way. But they are not anywhere near a toilet. We do see he's going to be able to clean up that base down here. The Widow Mines trying to burrow right underneath this. They do have speed. Look at that absolute carnage. Gumiho is just styling on ZEST right now. Oh, what is this game? Besides epic. So ZEST is still doing relatively well in controlling the map with these Tempests. Gumiho just not really able to re-establish these bases, but he is making it very painful for ZEST in the meantime. Does manage to get out of there, but he does lose one battlecruiser, and every single battlecruiser is so important right now. We do see ZEST getting ready to head on in for another big attack, and he should be able to crush this as the Thors are not going to be anywhere near this army yet. Gumiho even not repairing. Oh my goodness, that was a huge mistake. I feel like he could have kept that alive. But with the addition of Thors, he should be able to clear up some of those Tempests in the sky. Thors are a pretty big counter to those Tempests, since he does have... They do have the range to fight them. In terms of upgrades, we're pretty much have all the upgrades that you're gonna see here. Stalkers gonna be able to deny mining on this base. The Widow Mines doing what they can. They actually get more connections than you might expect. Almost loses the Oracle, but not the biggest of deal right here. I think from here, Gumiho needs to go. This is pretty much his only chance to kind of win this game. He needs to put the pressure on ZEST with his maxed out army. Don't be a hero, man. Trust me, it does not end well. Oh, here we go. Once again, he makes his way into the main base here. Since Gumiho was playing it defensively, he does have his army back at home. Yamato cannons blanketing these forces. It is absolute carnage. Once again, the battlecruiser is getting right on top of the Tempest. The ground army is gone. ZEST supply is decimated. And honestly, from here, it looks like Gumiho feels confident enough. He is going to go for a big attack. ZEST down half the army supply, scans absolutely everywhere. Gumiho, now is the chance. I really desperately want to tell him, just go, but that would be absolutely cheating. But 4 Tempests are on the Void Rays. There's a couple of Void Rays out. ZEST does have control of the bottom side of the map. He will be taking that base down there. ZEST, or Gumiho, will have to recognize that. But again, he has to do a lot of damage right now and necessarily just win the game. 13 probes going down. This entire mineral line is forfeit. The Stalkers trying to get underneath the battlecruisers, but that's not going to be enough. So we have a good old-fashioned base race. Oh my gosh. Excuse me. Maybe not the best pullback there, as the Hellbats will be able to kind of clear up a lot of these Stalkers. Another base will go down. It kind of just comes down to Gumiho being a little bit too passive with this army. Just seeing the fact that there's so much of ZEST's army across the map, I would say that, yeah, he should have gone for it, but now ZEST has really recovered and is actually ahead in terms of overall supply. Oh no, Gumiho recalling 2 battle cruisers. That is 400 minerals down the drain for each one. And although he does clean up the Stalkers, what does he really have left? He does have siege tanks, I will give him that, but they're not really doing anything. Yeah, this just comes down to Gumiho being a little bit too passive. He keeps bleeding out units to the Stalkers when he can't really afford to remake them. His army is quite expensive with the Thors, with the battle cruisers. Gumiho just not really able to take advantage of his little advantages here, and yeah, he's just had the income advantage for the longest time, as Gumiho not really expanding up past these 4 bases. And you can kind of see this tells you a lot as well, just the fact that he hasn't been mining efficiently. This game is longer than both of the other games in the series, or all 3 of the other games in the series combined. Nice little move there. He does manage to blink away, but unfortunately he does blink into a huge Protoss death ball. So he will lose all of these battle cruisers, and I think from here, that's really the damage done that he needed to. Although that being said, ZEST does lose quite a bit of his own Tempests. The Stalkers back at home will start to get cleaned up by the reinforcements, but now Gumiho is on the warpath. He knows he's got to get something done here and now. Gets the kill, not the cancel. And this is where you can kind of see Thor's doing relatively okay. But guess what? They're only +2. So there you have it. After a very back and forth series, we do have ZEST finishing out. And he will move on to the finals.